Welcome to Real Estate Powerhouse, live on Tab Talks with your host, Talia Bashani, top real estate attorney and negotiation expert. This is your opportunity to get the inside scoop and hear straight from top real estate agents in the business. Broadcasting live from New York City, learn the secrets of their success and hear the most authentic, real, unfiltered stories about how they got to where they are today. From their wins to their failures to the biggest lessons of their careers and what keeps them rising to the top. And now, here is your host attorney, Talia Bashani.
Hello, good afternoon. James Michael Angelo is with us today. So excited to have you on Real Estate Powerhouse live with Tab Talks, one of my favorite agents that I work with. So really exciting to have you in the studio. Thanks so much for being here today, James.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so proud of you. Like, you have your show. It's amazing.
Thank you. You've seen me rise. I'm still rising. I'm rising to the top.
Girl, you are on fire this year. You're on fire.
Thank you so much. So James, I would love to hear, everybody would love to hear a little bit about who you are, your background, and how you got started in the real estate business.
Sure. I come from an entertainment background. I grew up a child actor and was an actor throughout my 20s. I then went into interior design, interior architecture, because I was sick of waiting tables. And I thought I would use it as a side hustle. And it became all-consuming. I was able to work for 3 top designers. I designed a couple St. Regis hotels, some high-end homes. It was good. I don't like working for other people. So I left. And I was offered the opportunity to write a memoir. And my now ex-husband, who's a wonderful guy, I always have to qualify that. Like, when I always have to say, like, it's a good guy. Otherwise, it's just awkward. And I went into comedy. And I've been a comic for 10 years. And my ex-husband was on Broadway. And he says, I want to leave Broadway and I want to go back to school. And I said, okay. And he says, you have to get a big boy job. And I was like, I have a big boy job. I was like, I play Foxwoods. I open for Jeanine Garofalo. And he says, yeah, but you don't make consistent money. And I was like, well, that's true. And he says, I think you should go into real estate. And I said, well, I think you should go sleep with a girl. And we both so well. But that was the best move I ever made. It was the best thing he ever pushed me into. I kind of took to it like a fish to water. I really love it. It utilized my skill set, and I thank him still to this day.
Phenomenal. And how long ago was that? How many years have you been in the real estate business?
I'm going on 8 years now.
Fantastic. And did you start with rentals? Did you go right into the sales? Tell us about your transition.
I knew a lot of real estate agents, and they set me up with interviews at a couple of different firms. I had my eye on Corcoran. I knew a lot of Corcoran brokers. So I interviewed at what was then 660, their flagship on Madison, the Soho office, and Chelsea. And in Chelsea, manager Scott had just gone over to Douglas Elliman, I believe. And there was a new manager, Lee Godwin. It was her first day. And she says, you're my first hire. I'm going to help you build a sales career. About 3 weeks into it, I said, I have to join a team. I need to make money. My husband wants to leave Broadway. And she said, you're not team material. I'm going to help you build a sales career. And she helped me every single day. She mentored me. And somebody told me really something important about building a business, that it takes 3 to 5 years to build a business. And you can't do real estate part-time. So I got into Corcoran, and for the first 3 years of my career, I just worked every single day. I clocked in, I clocked out, and that third year really hit.
Fantastic. I love it. And you mentioned being on a team versus working solo. I'd love to hear from you what your perspective, is on that. So especially for, there's a lot of real estate agents getting started in the business. Everybody has different opinions on whether you should be solo or join a team. What's your perspective? I want to hear from you, the pros and the cons.
I only have a perspective for myself. I don't ever pretend to know what somebody else should do.
Yeah.
I think it really depends. Real estate is such a personal journey, and everybody comes from a different background, right? So you also have different stages of your career. Some people have been on their own for years. And you know what? I'm not a good island. And this is an independent contractor field.
Yeah.
So I like to work with people every day. And so I like to have a team. I now have a director of operations who is my sister, and taking on other agents onto my team. I like to work with people. I like people. And it also motivates me every day to be part of a team. Jumping on someone else's team or forming my own, like I said, for me, my parents were entrepreneurials. I just kind of come from that background, and Lee pushed me in that direction. So I've never been on a team. I really can't speak to what that's like, but it works for so many agents, especially if you're a new agent and you have a bigger agent that you're on their team because their split is higher. Let's just talk money. They get a higher split, and that works for new agents.
Yeah, makes sense. No, makes a lot of sense.
I'm in a swivel chair. I have to stop swiveling.
Okay, don't swivel. You're going to make everybody seasick. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your big break. Okay, I want to hear what your big break was within your 8-year career and what that turning point was like for you.
I mean, my big break is a little unusual. I was headed down to my office in Corcoran. I was living in South Harlem at the time. It was a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. And at the 81st Street subway stop, which for those of you that don't know, in New York, it is the Museum of Natural History. Normally about 100 fifth graders get on, and you kind of roll your eyes. You're like, why me? This time, about 13 7-foot giant men get on the train, and they all squish me around. They surround me here, one squishing me on this side and that side. The gentleman to my left starts taking out his cell phone. And every time he takes his cell phone out of his pocket, he hits me in the forehead because he's so big. And I said to him, could you please not do that? And the guy in front of me says, don't touch him. And I said, well, I'm the size of his calf. I don't think I'm going to do much damage. And the man then pulled his cell phone out and filmed everyone around us. He put his cell phone in my face. I pushed it away. I said, can you not do that? And I stormed off. And 15 minutes later, every single news outlet in the country was trying to get a hold of me, as you know, because it was LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I became famous for 72 hours as being the guy who did not know who the most famous sports person is.
Basketball player.
Right. I said, well, I don't know who LeBron James is because I don't watch football. That got me into trouble. I'm a comic. I wrote a joke. Some people didn't get it. Anyway, so I tell you that story because at the time, Compass was really poaching a lot of brokers from other firms. I was in the Chelsea office. He had been able to get to one of my colleagues, and that colleague recommended me to Robert. Robert said, wait, is it the Can You Not guy? How's he in person? Is he a little prickly in person, or is he not? This is what he asked. And he said, and Sam says, he's great. You should grab James now. And I sat down with Robert Rifkin, and he says, I don't want you to build my brand. I want you to build your brand, and we'll give you all of the tools. So, everybody thought that my big break would be in comedy after that incident, but you never know how things are going to work out. So I got to Compass. They gave me all the tools to build an amazing business. I was heading into my 3rd year. Or I just had reached the 3-year mark. So it was time for that 3 to 5 year, time frame to really hit. And I did 10 million in sales that year.
Phenomenal. I love it. So speaking about first of all, everybody can check out that clip of young James on your YouTube channel, right? Which we'll share with everyone.
Google LeBron Subway and it will come up. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of, multi-million dollar deals, what was your biggest sale?
Biggest sale was last year. A 5-bedroom at Central Park Tower just kind of fell in my lap. And it was a guy that I've known for a long, long time. And it was his husband's mother in Singapore, who was then to become my buyer. This is some public knowledge in the Wall Street Journal article that they broke and interviewed me. And so I'm not divulging any information that's not already out there. But it was 63.75. I was able to negotiate it down to 43 million. And it took about 9 weeks. And I needed a very long nap after that.
I'm sure that must have been definitely a whirlwind of a transaction with lots of ups and downs, but you made it to the closing table. You collected that fat check, and I'm sure that was very gratifying. So what would you say it really takes for agents to navigate and succeed in the luxury real estate market?
I think you have to really dedicate yourself to being an expert, number one.
Okay.
Yes, you have to know inventory, but you really have to know the market. I call it having boots on the ground experience and information for everybody out there. You have to know finishes and construction, I think. How do you guide somebody who's going to walk into a new development that it's a $3 million price point for 3-bedroom versus the building right next door for $3 million, 3-bedroom. One has solid oak wood cabinetry and man's hardware. One has a lacquer or faux lacquer kitchen. I'm not going to let my buyers buy a kitchen that they're going to have to update. If you're spending $3 million, you should get $3 million type finishes. And because I've been an interior designer, I can spot them, as soon as I walk in. So I try and point out value. So as a real estate agent, you have to know what the value is of not just the property price per square foot, what the building is, but you also have to know the value of the interior materials, because that's what the buyer, soon to be owner, is going to have to spend their money on in 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Or not.
No, yeah, very smart. And the fact that you do have that background in interior design, you can spot, finishes and what type of fixtures and what type of material is being used, I think goes a long way to set you apart from other agents. And also your clients really appreciate that about you.
I'm also able to gut renovate the apartments that my buyers purchase with me. There was this one girl, she purchased a duplex down on West 4th Street. And she was living in Paris working for Estée Lauder. And so she's like, I want a Parisian flat. And I work with an amazing architect, John Santelises, J7 Architecture. And he swooped in and we made it a Parisian flat. And this girl threw a Marie Antoinette housewarming party where everybody showed up in the wigs and the powdered faces and everything. I was in jeans and a t-shirt. I was in and out in 5 minutes, but it came out so beautifully. So I negotiated that price because I knew how much money we were going to have to put into it.
Yeah, sounds fabulous. I love it. Now let's talk about your day-to-day. Okay. Is there a certain routine? How do you really handle time management? Okay. Organizing your day. Is there a certain mantra that you live by? Tell us about, James Michael Angelo and your, how you stay on track with everything that you have going on.
Well, as soon as I get up, I think, when can I take my first nap? No.
Hey, you just woke up.
Life is exhausting, Talia.
Okay.
I have the love of my life, my dog Aiden, as you know. So we're usually in the park anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30. And we do our, it's kind of like a walking meditation for me. Either I'm listening to a book or I'm listening to some kind of music, or, I'm talking to somebody in my personal life about some kind of, growth personally. So I do like a walking meditation. I need nature around me. I come back, eat a great breakfast, and I really just get going. I mean, by then the emails are coming in,
Yeah.
So by then you really can't avoid it anymore. Lately, I'm going through, as I just said earlier, my sister Denise, who's an amazing, amazing person and a very accomplished businesswoman, has come on to be the director of operations of JMA. Yeah. And we are reading Ninja Selling together. It's like a book club. The title is deceiving. It's not about selling, but it really is about a mindset and how you live your life when you run a business. So we're reading that. Somebody else gave me another book that I'm listening to, an audiobook. And my day-to-day is just really based upon what's happening at the time or what's not happening at the time. Real estate is so, for me, I have to develop structure. I run my business from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. But in that span of time, the reason why I love real estate is because no day is alike, If I'm not having to tend to business, then, marketing's my thing, which I really love. And I'm able to start, I'm developing a campaign, or we're working on Millennial Power Woman, or something that, is going on. So I love that I always have something to do, but I don't have to follow a boring routine, because it's just not me.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes I'll start doing jumping jacks around 1 o'clock just because, I want to get the blood flow. Jumping
jacks are fun. Flow. Very important. Yeah. And some green juice. Yes.
If you haven't already picked up on this, I attract a very certain type of clientele. You have to be able to have a little bit of fun with me.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about your clientele. In your practice, in your business, do you focus more on sellers? Do you focus more on buyers? Is it like a hybrid? And how do you generate most of your leads and your business?
One, I never turn down business. So whether it's a seller, a buyer, a renter, a landlord, I'm very specific about working with a renter because there's no contract. And I really do talk to them about loyalty. I prefer 5,000 a month and over, but I will work with anybody. So I don't turn down money, first of all. It's important to say that because when you do a $43 million deal, people think you're in some kind of other stratosphere. No, I will sell any apartment, work with any buyer. It's what I do every day. And I treat every deal the same. Just want to say that. And generating leads, listen, it's your sphere of influence. I don't sell real estate. I'm in a lifestyle. It really is a difference, And that's why I don't treat it like a part-time job. That's why I don't treat it like a clock in, clock out job. I really invest in, buying and selling a home is the most stressful thing. One of the top 3 most stressful things you can do.
Yeah.
It's my job to be a guide in every way, shape, and form. And I try and give 150% to my clients. I think that, working together for so long.
Yeah.
I was out in East Hampton at my client's house this past weekend. Okay. And now I'm helping her do her garden. So when you sell a property, you could suddenly become a landscape architect. It's the lesson in that story.
Right. A jack of all trades. Exactly.
But I would say I generate leads from my, I think it was, who was it that said, Ted Turner. He said, someone asked him what the secret to his success is. And he says, early to bed, early to rise, you work all day and you advertise. And so I think that just being consistent in marketing, being kind, being thoughtful with other people's lives, but I would say too, just be a resource without expectation for return. That's really served me. I always tell people, listen, if you don't want to work with me, I'm fine with that. Call me. I'll give you free advice. I will give everything I possibly can. Vicki Barron developed the go-giver business model. Instead of being a go-getter, be a go-giver.
Yeah.
And it's such a more rewarding way to operate your business. And I get business that way too. It's just, people would rather work with somebody who doesn't put pressure on them or is not so salesy, but just gives them the information about their property. They don't care about me. I don't sell me. They care about their money. Right. That's what I'm there to tell them about.
And givers gain, what you contribute, what you give, that value that you provide is going to come back to you tenfold. So whether or not they work with you or not, you're still, putting goodness into the universe and you're happy to help regardless of if you get the deal. And I think that speaks volumes.
Real estate agents are kind of like dry cleaners in New York. You have to find the right dry cleaner who you like. Yeah. And if that person already is working with somebody, they will remember that I was just a free resource for perhaps a friend. Oh, you know what? He wasn't right for me because I already had somebody who I went to high school with or whatever. You should try this guy. I think you two would be a good fit.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so let's shift a little bit. I want to hear, everybody has their biggest wins, their biggest failures. For you, what would you say the most valuable lesson that you've learned in your career?
Do not take on a listing where the seller is insistent upon listing it too high of a price than what it's worth.
Okay.
It will. I did it once recently, and I don't overprice. And when you do that, it could be a domino effect in ways that no one's being served. So I would say that I did that once and learned my lesson.
Okay.
I've only let 2 clients go in my entire career. That was one of them.
Yeah.
And the other one was somebody who had an unrealistic expectation of selling after 2 years that they bought, and they wanted a certain return. And I was not gelling with the negative energy, and it was my first over $1 million deal. And I brought on a very senior broker at Corcoran to guide me, Julia Bolin, because I'd rather give money away and run a good deal than try and make all the money and make a mistake on someone else's behalf. It's just not the way I'd like to run my business. And she told me something really, really important. She says, let them go. I said, I can't. I said, it's my first over $1 million deal. And she says, if you let that negative energy go, you will get 3 more deals with more positive energy. And set silent boundaries. What hours do you work? If you're not working that moment, set a silent boundary. Take care of yourself. And so I take care of myself by making sure I put myself in the right deal and that I can truly serve the situation. And if that person doesn't want to listen to me, doesn't want to listen to truth, because I go on data, then I have to walk away and not be afraid to lose the business, because I'll lose the business anyways. No one's going to buy the apartment for a higher price.
Exactly. All right. Thank you. Well, we are going to take a short commercial break, and then we are going to resume with part 2 of our interview with James Michael.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
You're not just my colleague, you're my friend. And I'm so proud of you, because this past year, you have just hit like a whole new stratosphere in your career. And I'm just really honored to be working with you.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much. Such a sweetheart. Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is Talia Bashani, your real estate attorney and negotiation expert. I'm here to give you the straight up, no nonsense, practical legal negotiation tools that can either make or break your deal. I've been practicing in New York City for 15 years, and I've closed over 10,000 properties and over $500 million in real estate. I've seen it all while working with the most successful real estate agents in one of the most competitive cities known for record-breaking real estate deals. Mindset is a powerful tool and essential to growth, but add that to essential creative negotiation tools and you're unstoppable. If you want to get certified in luxury real estate sales, acquire more exclusive listings, and learn the nuts and bolts of high-end real estate transactions, then check out my coaching program and learn the tools and secrets to become a 7-figure realtor. My goal is to ensure that you increase your closing percentage, you double your commission, and you make more money by working smarter, not harder. You hold the key and the power to your own success. All you have to do is follow my negotiation tools and strategies that I've developed for you in order to excel. For more information and to get a free preview of my program, check out tali360.com, and let's get started today.
All right, welcome back. Here we are with James Michael Angelo and part 2 of Real Estate Powerhouse live on Tap Talks. So I want to start out this segment with, something crazy. So every real estate agent in New York, I'm sure in the course of their career has experienced a crazy client, a crazy situation, things you just can't make up in this town. So I want to hear from you. What's your craziest real estate story?
God. Do you know who I am? That's all
I know. I've heard several, and let's
which
keep
one
it.
do I go with, Talia? You know me.
Yeah.
Which one do I go with?
I know.
So, let's see. Craziest showing or craziest deal? I mean, listen, that Central Park Tower deal. I mean, who goes through something like that? I'm negotiating between a billionaire's wife and Gary Barnett. I'm a comic. I'm like, are you sure you want me to represent you? And that was, that was definitely a gem. I did have one of the ones I just talked about that I had to let go.
Okay.
I stage my properties, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I do for my sellers is I will stage them. People don't have the money sometimes to spend $8,000 to $13,000 on staging, which gets you 3 months, right? It's expensive.
Yeah.
And I believe you have to make a property look like the price tag you put on it. That is one of my all-time, that's my motto. Mm-hmm. And so what I'll do is I'm a Wayfair professional. I have a pro account with them because I'm an interior designer. And so what I'll do is I will order the furniture from Wayfair, and I'll get like expensive accessories, and then I'll return it, which don't tell Wayfair, and then I'll return the furniture, and I'll get some of my seller's money back.
Yeah.
Well, she came back from living down south, and she didn't like what I did with her apartment. Now, what it looked like beforehand, I can't even tell you. But she then didn't like the furniture, and she didn't put out $1. I paid for the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Well, then she starts putting the furniture in the hallway. She wants to take it out.
No.
And Phyllis, my junior agent, Phyllis Gottesman, she's amazing. Now, Phyllis cleaned this woman's refrigerator because she didn't clean it out before she left.
Oh,
She's got her gloves on. She's scrubbing the refrigerator. We're throwing out everything. I basically excavated all the stuff in the apartment she'd have to move.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
putting the furniture in the hallway. So Phyllis and her daughter pull up at the SUV in front of the building. We're like putting furniture in the back of the SUV as if we're looting. It's like, what's happening right now?
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
I'm trying to help this woman. So that was pretty crazy.
So she literally didn't like your staging and your design, even though you had to do it in order to make the property, look its price point. I mean, it shouldn't be personal at that point. At that point, it's business.
First of all, I never make it personal. I call it repositioning an apartment on purpose.
Right.
I take the emotion out of it.
Right.
I'm not staging. It's not personal to your furniture. Oftentimes it's about scale. Mm-hmm. And she had two huge sofas, which weren't very attractive, two huge sofas that I had to get out of the apartment. And they were taking up too much space. People need to really look at scale of an apartment when they walk in. Some people just can't imagine it. It can make a difference of whether or not someone thinks they can breathe in this space, and two, whether or not their furniture can fit in it. And sometimes the floor plan just doesn't do it. You have to show people how it feels to be in the space. So that's oftentimes why I want to, either move something around or take pieces out.
Sure. Perception of value is key, especially when selling real estate. It's got to be show ready.
And let me get a furniture company to remove it if you don't like it. Like, that's just number one.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your passion projects, as well as your own show that you have, What's the Deal? Tell us a little bit about that.
What's Your Deal is something that I developed at Corcoran. I was on 2 episodes of $1 Million Listing. Friends that are on that show, they know that there's nothing insulting when I say it. It's the only thing on television that represents real estate. And I thought there's got to be another perspective. And so I wanted to really have a conversation. And so I developed a show where I thought, well, I want to have interesting people on that people are going to want to tune into and listen to their stories. Who could that be? And I just kind of let myself dream, like when I think of it, I have an idea. I don't limit myself. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter where I'm at that moment. What do I want? Like what's the actual big dream of this? Right. And I read Barbara Corcoran's book, Use What You Got. And she said, bring everything in the past into the now. Don't leave anything behind. And don't be someone you're not. And I met brokers like Vicki Barron, who remain who they are. And we identify with each other very much. She's quirky and fun. And I was like, how'd you hang on to this quirky personality and become so successful? Because I need to know that. Yeah. And so I developed a show where I interview celebrities and I tell their stories through all the apartments that they've lived in. And I'm very close friends with Scooter LaForge, one of our most celebrated artists of today. And I had a mentor, one of the guys I wanted to emulate when I got to New York was Michael Musto, and he was my first guest. Scooter was my second. Patricia Field was my third because she had discovered Scooter and introduced us. Mm-hmm. And that one day I just kind of wandered into Diane von Furstenberg's store because my cell phone had broken. Maybe because I dropped it in the bath the night before.
Yeah. While you were, you were on your laptop in the bath.
I was on my laptop, talking on the phone in the bathtub. Yeah. I was actually trying to take a selfie because I was feeling bad about myself. So I needed some more validation somewhere. And I dropped my phone in the water. And so I had to leave it at the Apple store for 3 hours. I walk into Diane von Furstenberg's store. I'm the only one without a wrap dress. So I stood out. And I was telling someone there, I was supposed to interview Diane, but COVID happened. And from out of nowhere, I hear this voice, well, here I am. And it was the one day out of the year that Diane von Furstenberg was in her store. Yeah. And I told her about this project that I started, that you joined me on, and now you're my partner, Millennial Power Woman, and how I'm starting a foundation. And she says, I want to be a part of that. Send my assistant everything. We're hoping to have her as this year's guest speaker, and I'm hoping to have her as my 4th guest. I'm also talking to Monica Lewinsky's people because Monica Lewinsky does amazing work with cyberbullying. And as you know, I started the New York City chapter of GLSEN and ran that for 5 years and brought anti-bullying workshops into our schools because it's a very personal cause for me. And so that's the deal with What's Your Deal.
Amazing. I love it. That's so cool. And I just love how, colorful and dynamic you are, and you have so much, so many other things going on beyond real estate. One of which is the new foundation for Millennial Power Women. So please kind of share with us what your vision was behind MPW and what message you really want to deliver.
Sure. I would say COVID took away my superpower, which is connecting with people. And so I wanted to connect with my network as we transitioned back into, being in each other's presence in life here in New York. So millennial women have helped me build my business. And I've been in awe of these millennial women the whole time I've been working with them. Millennials couldn't find jobs out of college. And then they found these great careers. And they were like, the ladies that I worked with were like, we're not letting COVID slow us down. We're going to take advantage of this market and we're going to buy an apartment. I was like, let's do it. And so throughout the years, I worked with these wonderful women, and I decided I wanted to honor 5 of them by throwing them a big party and making them honorees in something that I decided to call Millennial Power Woman event. And I asked you to be the attorney at the event, and it was a big success. Each girl got to invite about 20 to 30 people. We had another guest speaker, 2 guest speakers, one of them being a woman who graduated law school in the 1960s with RGB and became one of the first 6 women to ever be hired by all male dominant firms. And Bonnie was amazing with what she shared.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking. I looked up at the dais that year and I said, oh my God, what a diverse group of women. And I thought, oh my God, I don't have one Black girl as a client. And I come from a mixed family, and you know that it's very personal to me. And I thought, well, why is that? And I'm privy to the information of systemic racism. I'm in the know as much as I can be as a white male. And I every day try and continue to learn more and more about how our world works, and who's not coming through the door is who I think about. And so after talking to a lot of people and really doing a lot of research, I decided to start a foundation that's going to gift millennial Black women down payments so that they can own homes in New York City. They are the least championed demographic across the board in both education and jobs and homeownership. And I am hell-bent on changing that, because these are the most intelligent women that I've ever met. They're most accomplished women. And for some reason, well, we know why, but society is leaving them behind. And I just can't let that happen on my watch. So we are now going to do our next Millennial Power Woman event. We're going to honor 5 millennial Black women who want to own homes. And my goal is to start this foundation with private money and gift an under $1 million purchase down payment to as many women as I possibly can.
I think that's a phenomenal cause. I'm really excited to be a part of that with you. I think it's so important, especially in today's day. And I think it has a lot to do with equality, both for women and racial equality. And I think it's home ownership and investing in real estate truly is so important and so crucial for establishing that long-term generational wealth. So really, really excited about that. And I think just, being on board with you, I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much. So James, if anyone...
Can I just do a shout out to one more thing?
Yes,
if there's
please.
any women of color that are watching this and you want to go into real estate, we could use more women of color in real estate. And I will sit down take you to dinner, a cup of coffee, and be a resource for you, because I would love more of my colleagues to be women of color.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So on that note, please share what is the best way for our listeners to find you and to reach out to you.
You can Google me. You can reach me at, I'm now with Bond New York, which I'm very excited about. I just joined them about 6 weeks ago. Right. So it's JMA at Bond New York. You can always Google me, find my YouTube. It's not really hard to find me.
And your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is at James Michael Angelo. That's good. Yeah, prompt me. I don't know about these things sometimes. I'm not the most techie guy in the world, but I can help you with a home. And I'm getting back on stage soon. So you check my YouTube. Oh my God, wait a minute. I am working with Luxury Presence. I just signed a contract with them, and they're developing my brand new website, which is going to launch in 2 weeks. JMANewYork.com. And it's going to be fabulous. We're doing design.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Sleek and amazing. Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Really enjoyed having you on the show. And for everyone watching, yes, this will be live on Apple, Spotify, and my YouTube channel, and more to come. So thanks so much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
You've been tuning into Real Estate Powerhouse live on Tab Talks with your host, attorney Talia Bashani. For more information, please visit Tali360.com. You can watch this show streaming live on StreamYard and available across all social media outlets, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook Live, and more. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, and questions, and please share this show with your network.